The Lincoln Lawyer, a Netflix original series based on a number of novels by Michael Connelly, offered us our first look at a show that was already having trouble justifying its own existence in its first season. Manuel Garcia-Rolfo, filling in for Matthew McConaughey, who played the character in a movie that was perfectly adequate as a limited plot, gave a commendable leading performance. It was difficult to see what could turn Netflix's version of The Lincoln Lawyer in a better direction when it had already veered so far from a fascinating course, because it failed to find a narrative rhythm in what was quickly exposed to be a whimper of a story. Even yet, there was a glimmer of hope that a second season may reinvent itself and progress past its plotting beginning. After all, the most recent season of Perry Mason demonstrated how a new case in a courtroom drama could offer a chance to outperform the previous one. The first episode of The Lincoln Lawyer's second season has some improvements, and there are even a few exciting plot twists now and again, but it still struggles with many of the same issues as before. In the first part of the second season, which is based on the Michael Connelly novel The Fifth Witness, Mickey faces off against a fresh adversary in court while his new love interest is detained and is defended by the Lincoln Lawyer himself. Talk about the worst kind of blending work and pleasure. We can count on Maggie, Lorna, Izzy, and Cisco to weather any storms. The first half of Season 2's conclusion will leave us speechless. So where does the murder trial of Mitchell Bondurant end? Does Lisa have a defense? What can we anticipate for Mickey in the second half of Season 2? Here is everything you need to know about the ending of The Lincoln Lawyer Season 2 Part 1. In final episode, the district attorney's office must now establish its case against Lisa. Mickey and the crew get ready for fight, while he does his best to identify the DA's smoking gun against Lisa. But the amount of evidence against Lisa is now insurmountable. Lisa is informed by Mickey that the prosecutor dropped the offer before they had a chance to reject it. Additionally, he says that they need to speak with her ex-husband, because it would be detrimental if the prosecution persuaded him to testify against her. Lisa snaps at Mickey to stop talking about him after this triggers a switch in her. Later, she admits to Mickey that she instructed her ex-husband via email to call Mickey. When Jeff finally calls Mickey, he tells him that their marriage wasn't the best and that he doesn't want anything to do with the mess she is in. Mickey questioned him about the toolkit before he hung up the phone, but he was unable to respond. Then he said to leave him alone and that he wouldn't testify in the case. Mickey's main objective is to undermine the prosecution's case in order to force the DA to disclose what they are holding back from the judge at the hearings, or the prosecution will present their case to the judge. The DA says they can call Margot Schaefer in the morning after rejecting a rumor about Margot's eyewitness testimony. Due to photographs that Lorna took in the morning, which led her to wonder whether or not she actually saw Lisa that morning, Mickey successfully cross-examines Miss Schaefer. The judge calls the attorneys to the stand and informs them that Miss Schaefer's testimony cannot be used, and that if this is all the DA has, they will not proceed with the trial. The DA requests a meeting with her managers before continuing. Lisa acknowledges that she was where Miss Schaefer claims she was outside the courtroom, and Mickey declares that he needs the whole truth. That's it, she asserts. As Mickey had predicted, the DA would reveal their hand once he forced them to act. Back in the courtroom, Andrea calls forensic analyst Hannah Gates to testify. Gates admits on the witness stand that she compared Lisa's DNA to a pair of gloves she found at her home. Additionally, a bloodstain that matched Mitchell Bondurant was discovered on the glove. The podcast producer, Henry Dahl, has agreed to helm a film about Mitchell Bondurant's murder. Mickey then calls Lorna to inquire about the location of the files, and the two engage in a heated argument about who is to blame. Two men jump him as he walks to his car to see whether the file is inside, beat him down, and leave him for dead in the parking garage.